Krishna Mataji, my voice is audible, screen is visible, full screen. Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
ओम अज्ञानतिमिरदस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यो एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो 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 विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. So let's start this chapter today, chapter 15, that is Yoga of the Supreme Person or Purushottama Yoga. And before that, we had chapter 14, that Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga, and humble obeisance to Radha Govinda. And let's just recap on chapter 14. So in chapter 14, there are 27 verses. 1 to 4, it was liberation and conditioning of the living entity. How, I mean, how it gets conditioned with the three modes. Then 5 to 9 was description of the binding of pure soul by the three modes. 10 to 13, we discussed about recognizing supremacy, a mode within a person. Sometimes how Sattva dominates other two, or sometimes Raja dominates other two, and accordingly, whichever is the predominant mode, accordingly the person behaves. Like we had the example of a puppet where it is hung by the thread or the ropes. Then 14 to 18, actions and death within the mode. So what happens, that also we saw. So who goes where? In the tamas, they go to the lower planets or even animal kingdom. Sattva goes to the higher planets, and the rajas always continuously, because of the continuous endeavor, he or she, I mean the soul, comes always to the earth. Again, birth, death, old age, disease, everything goes on. So from here, we go to Purushottama Yoga. And what is Purushottama? Now, I'll ask this question. What do you understand by Purushottama? So Purusha plus Uttama. So what does it mean? Of course, the name was uh, the yoga of the supreme person. So Purushottama is supreme person, no doubt on that. But who is Purusha? Hare Krishna. Who is called Purusha? We know Purusha and Stri, right? We always use in our daily lives. So
Purusha here is Krishna, Prabhuji.
Purusha is Krishna, no doubt. But what does Purusha mean?
The injured, the enjoyer.
Enjoyer. In our real, in this material world, there are concepts of Purusha and Stri. So Purusha is the enjoyer, of course, not from the spiritual point of view. But here we see that Purusha is the enjoyer and Stri is the enjoyed. So Stri is expands and Purusha is the enjoyer. So that is the material relationship in this material world. From there, in fact, this word Purusha has come so that Purusha becomes Krishna, who is the supreme enjoyer, and everything else, in the sense that all the living entities who are part and parcel of Krishna will also see the example in this chapter itself. We'll see 15.15, and we will see that how uh, each and every living entities is something like a spark. So Purushottama Yoga will discuss and we understand about Krishna because he is the supreme person. Now, the whole question is we also had understood in the previous chapter that is Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam that is peace formula. In the peace formula, what did we anyone remembers peace formula? Peace formula Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam Sarva Loka Maheswaram and Suhrudam Sarva Bhutanam Gyatva Mam Shantir Muchati. That was the peace formula. But there also he's saying Bhoktaram Sarvabhutanam. So if he's the Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam, for all these sacrifices, he is the enjoyer or the benefactor. So he is the supreme enjoyer already. It has been said before also. So he is the Purushottama already established. Now this whole chapter, when it starts with the description of the banyan tree with respect to the material world and how the spiritual world and the material world gets divided. What is that base divides the material world and spiritual world? There was a beautiful simile. There's a beautiful example which Krishna gives in terms of a inverted, perverted, whatever you name it, banyan tree. So we'll go there and why we get attached and why we get attached to the material world, because we know that because of the modes, the prakriti or the material nature has the constituents of the modes, three modes, and once we get uh, knocked down by any of these modes, I would say, then we behave accordingly and we get attached. So in the rest we get attached to the endeavor, continuously get some sense enjoyment continuously non-stop. Similarly, sattva we uh, hanker for happiness, for purity, for knowledge, all that happens in sattva. In rajas, of course, the delusion, sleep, intoxication, and so on, are also the compelling factors. That's how we get detached. But how we get uh, detached? What is so? This part also will come here in the 15. That how do we get detached? There is a beautiful example which Sri Chaitanya gives, that how a devotee, in fact, in the external world, he or she behaves in a way that nobody knows that he is a great devotee of Krishna. The Krishna's devotee, Krishna's bhakta, Moda Chatura. They are very, very clever, not in the material sense. They're really, really spiritually knowledgeable. So to say, Krishna's bhakta, Ati Chatura means Sri Chaitanya Thakur has given a beautiful example saying that how to be really, detached. What is the definition of detachment and how we can understand it properly. And the beautiful example is just let us take an example of a wife, a chaste wife who absolutely takes care of her husband in all respects, proper time, giving the food, proper time, water, uh, I mean the rest, everything is taken care of, all the home affairs whenever he comes. So there is 100% attention and devotion to the husband, and the wife is also just. However, she has a secret lover and she loves. So what happens? So how does she behave? She behaves. He does her best to satisfy the husband, and so that she has a secret lover with who she in fact remembers. So what is happening here? Outwardly, she behaves as if she is attached to all the homely affairs outwardly. Inwardly, she is detached because inwardly, she's not detached. She's just doing like a duty and perfect duty. And inwardly, she is, in fact, love with the lover. So we can just replace the lover with Krishna. That's how the position is. So we have, so while in this material world, while in this samsara, we we can do all our duties as if we are kind of attached. So we are doing duty. People will not think that we are not doing our duties. However, it is only outwardly attached. Inwardly, we are detached and attached to Krishna. That's how the Krishna Bhakta is Chatura. Okay, so what is 15 is all about? 15 is Purushottama Yoga. So, so we'll cover 10 verses today. This is again a small chapter, a very, very powerful chapter. So we'll cover 10 verses today. So first 5 verses, becoming detached from the material world, the reflection of the spiritual world. Just now we talked about how the example of in the chest 5, the example of the bhakta, how to get detached. To detachment, a detachment means attachment to something, because there cannot be an absolute detachment. We've talked it many times. So so there are two choices. Always Krishna gives. Either we attach to Krishna or we get attached to Maya. There is no third choice, and it is very, very clear. Now, 6 to 11, Purushottama Yoga, transmigrations, that we have in fact understood from chapter 2. It's a there. So that is point 3. तथा देहांतर प्राप्ति धीर सत्र न मुह्यति. That also will understand. Then 12 to 15, Purushottama Yoga, Krishna's position as the maintainer. And 16 to 20, the 3 shloka. In fact, there's a summary verse, I would say. There's a 16 to 20. There are 3 important summary verses that what is ultimate objective of the Vedas? What is the ultimate objective of Veda? Hare Krishna. Why somebody wants to, uh, read Vedas or study Vedas? What is the objective? Vedaischa sarvaihi aham eva vedyaha. Vedaischa sarvaihi aham eva vedyaha means by the Vedas, whatever is supposed to be known, that is me, Krishna is saying. So therefore, there is also a verse where we also know that Krishna warns Arjuna that don't go by the Pushpitam Vachaha. Don't go by the flowery language of the Vedas, because once you get attracted to the flowery language of the Vedas, then you go to the various kind of sacrifices, rituals, and so many things, and it will take to beautiful places, beautiful lokas where we'll enjoy, or the entity will enjoy. However, it will fall down. But Vede Sarvecha Ahama Vedya means if we miss the point that only knowledge, 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 and knowledge, and only the
BJP is not sending an official representative on the program tonight.
parampara. We had the parampara of Shastrata where we know, in fact, Chaitanya Prabhu also had the chance to defeat, Shastravids. So all that is very good, but it doesn't stop there. Main objective is what is the point of So okay, so becoming detached. So let us start with the first verse. Sri Bhagavan Vacha.
Kishore Subramaniam is pro BJP tonight, so I'm just getting presentation on all sides.
Urdham Moolam Madhav Sakham Aswatham Prahur Abhyayam Chandamsi Yasya Paranani Yastam Vedasa Vedavit.
And more power.
So Hare Krishna, I think there are some. Can we mute, please? Hare Krishna. There are some. Can you mute? Hare Krishna. Punalila Mataji, can you mute? Mute. But thank you, Mataji. Yeah, Urdhamulam Ardha Urdhamulam Ardha Shakham Aswatham Prahur Apyayam Chandamsi Yasya Paranani Yastam Vedasa Vedabit. So we can see on the right hand side. This is a banyan tree, and not a normal banyan tree. It is a inverted banyan tree, where it is a urdha moolam, means the root is on the top, root is upwards, and the sakha, adha shakha. So means the sakhas or all the branches are down. And this is what is the description of the material world where we are as of now. So, in this material world, and what is that divides from the spiritual world? It is there. It is a desire. So, why Krishna gives an example of banyan tree? There are many trees, right? There are mango trees. So many trees. Why banyan tree is given an example? The answer is in this, you know, in this picture itself. Hare Krishna. What could be the reason that Krishna has actually given the example of banyan tree? Why not any other tree? Hare Krishna. I think we're muted, so we can unmute again. So we can go to the participants and unmute someone. Okay, so anyone would like to, yes, Jai Shri Mataji or Dr. Sudhir
Yes,
or
Prabhuji.
Swamika Mataji.
Maybe, yes, maybe banyan tree has lots of branches and desires can be, mm, it must be a simile of desires. So that's why banyan tree is the example.
Yes. Is my screen visible now or something has happened to the screen?
No, screen is visible, but Krishna photos,
Just a minute, something happened.
yeah.
Let me go back. Yeah, sorry. Just a minute, let me share again. Sorry for this little interruption. Okay. Yes. So coming back, yes, you are right. You are right, Mataji. So he has given the example of banyan tree because in fact, you cannot have a trace. You can see how, you cannot see where is the start, where is the end. So many curves and curls. I mean, you can see the banyan tree is the best example. That's how in the material world you can see so many items there, some economic development, some religiosity, some sense gratification, impious acts, so many things. So in the material world we jump from one branch to other branch. Of course, branches represent what, that we'll see. So branches represent what? Hare Krishna, you have already passed level 1, so you should tell that.
Branches are desires, Prabhuji.
Desire is separating, of course, from the spiritual world, but what are the branches? Branches are also desire or something else? Okay, fine. So let's go ahead. So we have so many things. So there are branches, there are leaves, there are twigs, right? There are roots, so many things, and everything is has been already defined by Krishna in a beautiful way. What are the branches? Branches are primarily different planes, like higher planes, lower planes. You are moving from lower plane. If you go to the lower branch, means you are going to the lower locus, maybe hellish planets, etc., etc. If you are going to the higher branch, you can see in the top Brahma is sitting. So that means in the highest branch, rather, I mean not branch, in the root itself, which is the top, Brahma is sitting there. So Brahma Loka is there, and beyond that, and that also is under the desire. So Brahma has also come there with a desire. So everything is with a desire. And why you are taking Punarjanmas continuously? Because of desire. So what happens, like you can take an example, somebody has taken the path of Krishna consciousness, but for some reason, at some point of time, because it's not that we are all neophytes, sometimes some mistake can take place. Krishna will take care of that, no doubt on that. Once we have started our journey, Krishna will take care of that. But it may so happen sometimes somebody thinks that, okay, now, okay, I'm old, so I have a granddaughter, I must see her marriage. And if that kind of desire happens, then definitely she is coming back in the family in some form, may not be the old one, but maybe in some form. This is how the whole cycle will go on. So desire is something which makes us continuously taking birth either in higher planets or in lower planets or on the earth. Of course, one of the reason is that we get attached because of the modes that we understood in 14th chapter. Now the whole question is how to get out of this. What to do so that we get out of this branch and we can cross this base, and the base is desire. How to do that? So if Krishna has given an example of inverted banyan tree, then he's definitely going to tell us the solution as well. So let us see what he's saying. So in this section, Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna talks about two things. One is material world, how a living entity gets entangled in the material world because of the desire. And then there is a spiritual world. So in fact, if you look at, where does in fact inverted uh, reflection comes? Only when, let's say, besides a lake or somewhere. Is it real? Of course not. Because if somebody wants, okay, there are beautiful mangoes which are there on a beautiful mango tree, and uh, monkey never jumps because they at least know. But if somebody jumps there, they will not find anything because it's a false tree. So entire material world is also taken as a dukhalam ashashvatam. Everything is dukhalam ashashvatam, including the higher planets. Because ultimately birth, death, old disease, and what? Yeah, birth, old age, disease, and death. All these four are there from Brahmaloko to the Patala Loko, all the lokas. Right. So now, spiritual world, which is the actual source of the material world, and the need for developing detachment. Why the need is required? Because unless there is a need, we cannot have the acts of detachment. That allegory is also coming. That how to cut down this tree by the acts of detachment. Now, it is to tell is very easy because to speak, for example, when we study Gita, we understand death so easily. It's so easy that death is so simple. It is just a transmigration of the soul. Soul never dies, and we can understand it so easily. But just think about when somebody dies in our family. That is what the realization of the Gita is all about. If somebody dies in our family, then are you able to apply the principles which we understood? In fact, the realization, if it happens, then Padma Patra Vivambasa will come. That the understanding, the knowledge which is there for Dehinosmin Jatha Dehe Kumaram Yumnam Jara Tatha Dehantara Prapti Dhira Tatra Namuhyati. This, if it is ingrained, then many of the things will not matter. Like somebody, uh, you know, blaspheme us in the office or say something, gossips, etc. All this, it irritates so much. It angers so much. But the moment we understand this, that okay, he or she is not, you know, saying anything, any bad words to me, he cannot say because he cannot touch the soul. He's telling to the body. If this understanding happens, then of course we are at peace. So what is required to get the peace is detachment. And the analogy of banyan tree is used to show how the material world is perverted reflection of the spiritual world. Why it is called perverted reflection? Because so if there is a perverted reflection, means there should be a original reflection. I mean original, not reflection. So there has to be a body so that a shadow would be there. If we look at a shadow, it only means that there is a real thing. So if material world is a reflection, it simply proves that there is a real thing. So the real thing is a spiritual world where everything is all good. And in fact, more than 80% is spiritual world. And this material world is so small in the cosmos. So lessons that can be learned from this analogy are, therefore we discuss that why he compared it with the banyan tree. So Lord Krishna compares the material world to be an inverted banyan tree upward and branches downward because it is being reflected on the water. This can be seen of a tree standing on the bank of the body of water. We all have seen that. Anybody we have anytime we have visited a lake or a river or a pond, etc., we have seen such reflection of tree. And this is just a therefore this is a beautiful analogy. This tree is analogized with the spiritual world and the reflection to the material world. The desires of the living entities are compared to water. So as Mataji was saying that the branches are water, no, the water which divides the real from the reflection, that is the desire. And desires are the cause where living beings are situated. All living beings performing fruitive activities is like a bird jumping from the branch to branch, enjoying the fruits of the tree, which are dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. Moksha, of course, can be also a desire. A bhakta, mama janmani janmanishware, bhavatat bhakti ahetuki tvai is our Sikshastakam. So in fact, a bhakta always says that he's not interested in liberation. So the material world is not only unreal and perverted reflection of the spiritual world, but it is temporary, asashvatam. And a tree also is not going to live forever. Similarly, all living entities wandering in the material world are not going to be what? Permanently situated at one place. Therefore, based on their activities, there are two possibilities. And what are the possibilities? Some living entities might get liberated from the clutches of the material energy and go back to the spiritual world, and some may not. And who are they who get the chance of liberation? Who can actually cut the branches? So other living beings are either promoted or thrown down into the lower planetary system or lower species of life. So it can go to the Tapajana, Tapaloko, Mahaloko, Janaloko, Brahmaloko, etc. Or it can go to the Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Patala, etc. So no living entity right from Lord Brahma to an insignificant ant will live forever. So Brahma would have some billions of years, and ant would have maybe, you know, or a fly for the flies which come in the rainy season might have just one, even 12 hours of life. So both have duration of lifespan, but then again, birth, old age, disease, death, everything is there. Lord has said this material world is dukkha, ashwashatam, place of misery, and it is temporary. Everything that we see in the material world actually exists in spiritual world. This is a very, very important statement. Everything we see in the material world actually exists, because if you look at the object, each and every let's say the object has a curvature or the object has a spot. Everything comes in the reflection. So similarly, whatever is we're experiencing in this material world, like for example, the love, happiness, all these things, enjoyment, love, happiness, enjoyment, bliss, whatever we are experiencing, everything is there in the spiritual world. But here, everything is temporary. There, everything is permanent. Yat gatva na nivartante tathamam paramam mama. That's what Krishna says. The form and quality in spiritual world is completely different, made up of Sat, Chit, and Ananda. And what is Sat? Sat is eternal, Chit is the knowledge, and Ananda is a bliss. So eternally knowledge and blissful. Nothing in the spiritual world is formless without any qualities existing as impersonal light. It is very much personal. So therefore, Ishvara Paramakrishna, Sachidananda Vigraha, Anadiradir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karanam. So Krishna is having a transcendental body. All the souls that get liberated and having different kind of muktis, apart from the Sayujya Mukti, which is basically from the for the Brahmavadis or the Mayavadis, you can say. Apart from that, all other muktis, if it is a Salukya Mukti or is a Sarupya Mukti, all these muktis are where the soul gets a beautiful body, but then transcendental body, similar looking like Vishnu in the 400 form. You have seen when the Ajamila got delivered, then he got a beautiful 400 form of Vishnu and went to the Vishnu Loka. So the form and quality of spiritual world is completely different, but that's what we said. And it is very much personal. And okay, so now we talked about the branches. Branches are the various planes or lokas. Then we come to the leaves. Leaves are compared with the Vedic hymns. You can see the leaves. In fact, we can imagine this way that whatever is the topmost, whatever is that, I repeat, whatever is the topmost in the material world actually is the bottommost of the spiritual world. And whatever is the bottom in the material world, that can be a way to transcend the material world. For example, the Vedic hymns, which are the leaves, is the bottommost. Nobody goes there. Everyone is in the different branches. If you go to the Vedic hymns and get the knowledge, then we know that what is the gradual process. So first it will be uh, sakama karma, then niskama karma. Then from that there is a knowledge platform. Then there will be a platform of Ashtanga Yoga, and then finally the Bhakti Yoga. So that will happen. So one needs to understand the purpose of Vedas, which is to know the Lord. Veda is sarvescha ahameva vidya. And here, the best beautiful example would be, uh, let's say a thief sees a beautiful golden necklace or something, some very good piece in a house. So he enters the house. He plans to rob it and you know come back. So what is the first thing he does after entering the house? Just imagine something. Hare Krishna. Can we have devotees unmuted? He comes to rob a house. So what does he ensure after he enters the house? What does he ensure? What do you think? Hare Krishna.
He ensures the exit uh, door just to get away very fast.
Very good, very good, very good, very good. Wonderful, wonderful. Yes. This is the first thing he does. In fact, he opens the door, enters, and after that, he in fact immediately opens some of the other door or that one, whichever, where if by chance he get caught, then immediately he can escape. So he ensure that his escape route is absolutely clear the moment he enters to the house. But what happened to us? We are caught in this material world, and our job was supposed to, in fact, open the gate to escape, go back to Godhead. But somehow, because of the modes, because of our desire, because of attachment, we get entangled in different branches. And in fact, somebody can get attached to the Vedic hymns also and may not transcend. So those are the sattvic people who might do that, and even they can go to Brahmaloka and also get it, attached. So most important point is that, like the thief, a thief can understand very well that his first thing to ensure is to have an escape route. And Prabhupada is saying, and Krishna is saying in the Gita, time and again, every time, all the gurus have told the same thing, that find out your escape route as quick as possible. This is the human life which is given, only 4 lakh species. We do not know what will happen to the next life. So we must do the devotional service, and devotional service is possible only in this life. And that is the route, and that is the escape route. Sarvapadhi binirmuktam, Sarvapadhi binirmuktam, tatparattvena nirmalam, hrishikena hrishikesa sevanam bhaktir uchyate. So, hrishikena hrishikesa sevanam bhaktir uchyate. By our senses, if we please the sense of Krishna, that is called bhakti. And that is bhakti. Through bhakti, only detachment comes. So there are two things which comes from bhakti. One is knowledge and one is vairagya. These two things comes. And both are required for both work as detachment. Adhastodam prasastastasya sakha guna prabuddho vishaya prabalaha adascha mulani anusantattani karmanubandhini manushaloke. The branches of this tree extend downward and upward, nourished by the 3 modes of the material nature. The twigs are the objects of senses. This tree also has roots going down, and these are bound to the fruitive actions of the human society. So we can understand very well now. So how the trees get nourished? This tree is nourished by the 3 modes. So the branches of the banyan tree are spread on all directions unlimitedly. So unlimited means that there will be not only 82 lakhs species, but 82 lakhs into infinite, maybe, if we do not take the escape route. So in the lower parts, there are variegated manifestation of living entities, human beings, animals, horses, cow, dogs, cats. So any of the life we can get if we want, if somebody, the Upadishta Hanumanta Chavarta Bhukta Maheshwara Paramatmeti Chaplukto Dehesmin Purusha Para. So Upadishta and Hanumanta in our heart now always listens to our desires and sanctions. He's not only the Upadishta, he's also the Hanumanta. So as Hanumanta, he always sanctions. If we desire to eat, eat and eat, then definitely he will give us a beautiful body. Beautiful in the sense, beautiful as per the desire. So it can be hog, where on the other parts are higher forms of living entities, the demigods, Gandharvas, and many other higher species of lives. Because Gandharvas were people, perhaps the people who are aspiring to have fine arts in a very, very heightened stage. So they become a Gandharvas. So Gandharvas, sing very well, they dance very well. So as a tree is nourished by water, so this tree is nourished by the 3 modes of material nature. Just as some tracts of land are barren and some tracts green, depending on the availability of water. This is what is very normal. We see all around always. And depending on the prevalence of the particular modes of material nature, different species of lives are manifested. This is just an example that why the different species of lives are manifested. So somebody wants have the desire to be continuously swim, so finds he can get a body of something which can allow him to fulfill the desire. So he can become a frog, a fish, a snail, or whatever is there inside. That's all possible. Now, the twigs of the tree, this is very interesting. The twigs of the tree are considered to be the sense object, that is sight, smell, all the 5 senses. The smell, the sound, taste, form, touch, and so on. But Krishna has already given the formula. Rishikena Rishikesa Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyata. Sarvavadi Panirmuktam Tatparatvana Nirmalam. So if we use all our senses, so for sight, what should you do? Beautiful, you can always see the arti, the beautiful deity, smell the offered flowers, the sound of kirtan, the sound of bhajan. So Shravana, Kirtana, Vishnu Smaranam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, all that is there. And taste, we can taste the, see, all these are in fact the very, very fierce forces. They are compared to Vegas, Vegam. So Vacha Vegam is there. Vacha Vegam, Manasaha Vegam. So there is super force of the, speech. There is the force of the mind. There is a force of the jivha, means the tongue. So all these are there. There is a, so Upastha Vegam. So everything is there. So all this can be controlled only by diverting this to Krishna and chanting Hare Krishna. That's of course, the first thing. And in the level 2, we're supposed to chant at least one round. Hope everybody is doing that. And level 2, you level 3, you cannot go without having at least 4 rounds. So one round has to be increased. We should not stay just at and satisfied at one round. Slowly and steadily, one should go up 1, then 2, then 3, 4, and 16 is something which is required in the Bhakti Shastri stage. And these are recommended doses. Why it is recommended doses? We all know if somebody has a fever, then he is recommended a paracetamol of what? Nowadays it is 650 mg, right? Previously it used to be 500. So 650 mg is what is a dose, and thereby maybe 3 times if the fever is more, or maybe for 2 days. So similarly, our guru in the parampara have recommended 16 rounds, which is just required for having the bhakti jani. By development of different modes of nature, we develop different senses. So eyes, ears, nose, skin, mouth, these are analogous to the tips of the branches. If you want to see something, then you should have a special kind of eye. If you want to smell something, then you should have a special kind of, sense of smell. For example, the tiger. Tiger in Sanskrit is called Vyagraha. So what is Vyagraha? Vyagraha means Vishesha Agranam Karoti Yaha. Who has a special sense of smell is a tiger. But of course, in English word tiger doesn't mean anything. But every word in Sanskrit has its roots. So similarly, through the senses, we enjoy different varieties of sense objects. The senses are associated with the enjoyment of different sense objects. Now, there are primary roots and there are secondary roots. You can see in the banyan tree, right? It is primary roots are there, then the secondary roots are coming. So now we're talking about the subsidiary roots are attachments and aversions, which are byproducts of different varieties of suffering and sense enjoyment. So enjoyment will lead to attachment, suffering will lead to aversion, but both are attachments. The tendencies toward piety and impiety are considered to develop from these secondary roots, which spread in all directions. The real root is from Brahmaloka, and the other roots are in the human planetary systems. After one enjoy the results of virtuous activities in the upper planetary systems, that is above the Bhurloka, that is Bhugolaka, Swalaka, and up to the Brahmaloka, he comes down to the earth and renews his karma or productive activities for promotion. This planet of human beings, the earth is considered the field of activities. We know in the chapter, the Kshetra Gyor Jnanam, Yat Jnanam, Matir Mama. So this planet, which is Dukkhalam Ashashvatam, this is earth is considered the field of activities. Okay, so here also it's the same, is being the only way of the only way out of the tree is detachment. And detachment, asanga sastrena. Asanga sastrena is the word which is used. So asanga is detachment, sastra is the axe or weapon. So by the weapon of detachment, we can cut the branches of the tree. And then only we can cross this base of desire and go to the spiritual world. Now, as we already discussed that, what are the various ways of detachment? There are in fact no various ways. There is only one way, and bhakti is the only way. And therefore, we are in Krishna consciousness now. So this we have already, we can see that there is a real banyan tree where Krishna is there with all his paraphernalia, his devotees, everyone is there. Everybody is enjoying. This is all blissful there. It is all lighted all the time, self-illuminating, all that we'll see. And it is the inverted trees. It is a temporary reflection. It is the eternal world. So definitely we want a temporary world or an eternal world. Anyone will say that we want an eternal world. Who doesn't want that his happiness and pleasure and bliss should remain permanent? Anybody will say that yes, I want permanent. But the whole question is, what is that we're doing? Because we are already entrapped. So escape route, if you're not doing the correct thing to get out of the escape route, then there is no point of just a wishful thinking. So therefore the process laid through the parampara, which Gita provides the whole process. And this is what for the understanding. So we understood this is reflection medium. This is the original tree. The reflection is the false tree. Nourishment is from the three modes. Roots are the real root of material existence grows upward. Secondary roots are going downward. The subsidiary roots are attachment and aversions, etc. Branches are upper and lower planetary systems. So there are seven, six above and seven below, and in between it's there. Then various manifestation happen. Lower parts of the branches are human beings, animals, horses, all that. And what are the green leaves? These are the Vedic hymns, ritualistic formulas of Vedas, where you go up really up in the good planets, can enjoy for thousands and millions and billions of years. In fact, they can move with their transcendental body from one planetary system to other planetary system, like in Siddha Loka, for example. In the Siddha Loka, all the Siddhas, they have the transcendental body, they enjoy for thousands of years, they can travel anywhere. So all that is possible. Leaves of branches. So now, Rupam Asheya Tatho Tathopalabhyate Nano Nachadir Nacha Nacha Sampratishtha Aswat Aswattamenam Aswattamenam Subirudhamulam Asanga Dridhena Chitva Tatah Padam Tat Parimarkitavyam Yasmin Gatana Nivartanti Bhuyaha Tameva Chadyam Purusham Prapadye Yataha Prabhurti Prasarta Purani. So the real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, or where its foundation is. But with determination, one must cut down this tree with the weapon of detachment. So doing, one must seek the, so with this one must seek with this one must uh, seek the place from which, having once gone, one never returns. Yat gatva na nivardante tad dhama paramam mama. And they are surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom everything has begun, and in whom everything is abiding since time immemorial. This we know. In fact, at the end of the chapter on 18, he said, Sarvan parityaja mam ekam sharanam vaja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshami ma suchaha. That in any case, she takes care of everything once we get surrender. So therefore, this is the route. But before surrender, we have to purify ourselves, because otherwise the surrender is such a vast, such a big word. It it was not uttered before in any of the chapter. It is uttered in the last chapter. Before that, so much of purificatory process has to happen. And after that only will be eligible for that. And also it is possible only through the mercy of Krishna, not just by our endeavor. Okay, so now This we have understood, but I think we can. So the real form of the banyan tree cannot be understood in this material world, because the real form of banyan tree is the spiritual world. So it exists in the spiritual world. The root of the reflected tree is upwards, and the extension of the real tree is at the other end. Entangled within the material expansions of the tree, the extent of the tree cannot be seen. The origin of the tree also cannot be located. And where is the origin of the tree? That is above the desire. That's the origin of the tree. It cannot be seen because the layer is there, the base is there. However, the cause has to be traced. How we can trace the cause? Like we always ask. What do we ask? That I am the son of my father. My father is the son of his father, and so on. And by this process, you can go to up to the Brahma, because he is the first creator of the material world. However, he is the secondary creator, because Karandaksha Vishnu is the first creator by the Garbhodaksha Vishnu. Finally, the search ends in the Supreme Personal Godhead. Now, who has created Garbhodaksha Vishnu? So if we ask who, so the ultimate who will end at Krishna. This is achieved only with the association. This is achieved only the association of persons who know about the Supreme Lord. This asking and then actually understanding with the knowledge, because otherwise it remain as a intellectual repository. It will remain as an intellectual repository, not as a living experience, not as a realization. The realization can happen. All this realization can happen only through the association of devotees. For example, the best example is that how does a child knows who is his father? Very simple. Simply he or she asks her mother that who is my father? So mother says he is your father. That's all. Not a minute is lost in searching who is my father. So Krishna is the father of all. He is the seed-giving father. Aham bija pradapita. He's saying, now we cannot go on searching where he is, because who is the representative of Krishna? Our Guru. So Guru is, if you have not found your Guru, then everyone who has come in the fold of Krishna consciousness, our Guru is Srila Prabhupada. Till we find in the devotional path, till we were initiated, we find our own Guru. And we have seen the example of Dhruva. When the seeking was intense, the Chaitya Guru comes, and he comes in the form of Narada in his case. So similarly, in our case also, some Guru will come up, but before that, Prabhupada is our Guru, everyone's Guru, who has come in the fold of Krishna consciousness. Yes. On acquiring this knowledge, one becomes gradually detached from the false reflection of reality, situating himself in the real tree. The word asanga shastrena, that is weapon of detachment, is very significant, as the attachment for sense enjoyment and lording over the mental nature is very strong. It's a very, very strong. Imagine a person as of now, whoever you know, anyone that you know so far, who doesn't want to enjoy, and who doesn't want to lord over this earth for some reason, given a choice. So this propensity is so high that we need a asanga sastra, weapon of detachment. And after being enlightened in the association of devotees, one must surrender to the Lord. Once one succeeds reaching the supreme abode, one never returns to the false reflected tree. Because Krishna is saying that Yat Gatvana Nivartante Tadhamam Paramam Mama. If Krishna is saying this, where should be should there be any doubt in anybody's mind? Krishna himself is declaring. So where is the doubt? There should not be any doubt. Hare Krishna. The Supreme Lord Krishna is the original root from whom everything has emanated. Lord is himself said, Aham sarvesya prabhavo, mattva sarvam pravartate, iti matva bhajante mam, puda bhava samannita. He is saying, I am the origin of everything. Devotional service has to be done through Navada Bhakti. So what is Navavida Bhakti? Anyone say? Immediately, without a blink of eye? Shravanam Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Archanam Vandanam, Pada Sevanam, Dasyam Sakhyam, Atma Nivedanam. Therefore, to get out of the entanglement of this strong banyan tree of material life, one must surrender to Krishna. As soon as one surrenders unto Krishna, one becomes detached automatically from the material extension. As we have already said, that there cannot be an absolute detachment. It is just not possible. Because soul's original propensity is that it has to get attached because it is a part and parcel of Krishna. So it has to get attached to Krishna. Otherwise, if it doesn't get, therefore we have an example of two birds on a branch. In the Upanishad, it is there that there are two birds. One is the soul and one is the super soul. The super soul is just seeing the other bird, and that other bird is enjoying the fruits of the branches, and it is just watching it as a witness, upadrashta. And it is waiting that when is the time that this bird will turn his eye towards him, and he's waiting. Krishna is always waiting when we will turn our eyes to him. If a bhakta is so passionate to meet Krishna, Krishna is super passionate to meet the bhakta. That is the point. So the tree is not real but a reflection. It is impossible to fully understand the tree. Then solution is to cut down the tree. And by what? By the Asanga Sastrena. One must, and by that, only after cutting the tree, one can go to the spiritual world or to the Golokadam. So one by one, if you can understand importance of word Asanga, why real form of tree cannot be understood? Because root is up and extension is at the other end. When we are entangled in the material expansion, one cannot see how far the tree extends and where it is beginning. So it is so long and so many things are there. We have seen, so many branches and it is so dense. It is just not possible to see where is it and how to find out the cause. The example that we've seen. Father, up to the Brahma, from Brahma to the Kirodakshaya Vishnu, and ultimately to the Krishna. That's how we know. And what are the benefits of this knowledge? Of course, gradually one becomes detached from the false reflection. And cut this connection actually becomes situated in the real tree. And this is what happened. This is how we cut down the tree. You just imagine this picture in your mind that you are cutting down this shackle, which is which are the attachments, the branches, various lokas, and by that, and what it requires is determination. One must cut down this strongly rooted tree with the weapon of detachment. Detachment is the only way out of the tree. And how? Find one in the knowledge. Then second is surrender to the Lord. And third is attain the eternal abode. This is the gradual process. So nirmana moha, now it is saying, nirmana moha jita sanga dosa vinibritta kamaha द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ताः सुखदुःख संज्ञरी गच्छन्ति अमूढाः padam अव्ययं tat. 15.5. Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender into the Supreme Person, attain to the eternal kingdom. So all these are required, and we know what it is. So this verse describes the process of surrendering. Firstly, one should not be deluded by the pride. When the conditioned soul thinks he, not that is the Lord of the surrender, so he is a Bhoktaram Yagatapasam Sargoloka Maheswaram. If that is not understood, then the purificatory process is not possible, and then even surrender is not possible. If surrender is not possible, then it will not lead to the Paramadham. The process of surrender begins here. One always expecting some honor in this material world cannot surrender to the. So Sarvabhat Pyadhi Vinurmuktam. Therefore, this word is there. Any time, if we are looking for some position, some designation, some post, somebody should respect, honor, honor in the society. If that is there, it is just not possible. Bhakti is not possible because bhakti is about sarva upadhi binirmukta. Upadhi should not be there. Upadhi is what? Upadhi is a designation, like a chief justice, a prime minister, a president, a vice president, so on. Price is due to illusion, as although one comes here, stays for a brief time, and then goes away. We've understood this. No one, whether it is the best of the scientists, whether it is Einstein or the best of the philosophers, whether it is, the great poet, whether it is Shakespeare or whoever it is, in whichever area they are the best, nobody has survived, you know, after a particular time. Maybe it is 100 years, maybe it is 110 years, but it's all over after that. The associations caused by familiar social national affections are all illusions, binding one to the material world. Detaching from these, one has to develop spiritual knowledge. The mundaner should differentiate what is his own and what is not his. So body is not his. The soul is he himself. The world is not ours. This has to be ingrained. If we are studying Gita, then slowly and steadily, what is expected is that we have to frame our lives around it. Otherwise, it's all meaningless. That we're studying Gita and we still are fully attached, full of all kinds of gross enjoyments. What is the point of studying? It is similar to, you want to go fast. You have got a best of the, let's say you are getting a racing car, in fact, because you want to go fast. Okay, you could have got a rocket to go, but on the land, you want to go fast. So you got a racing car. Now, such a beautiful car, you can go at maybe 500 kilometer an hour. That is also possible. But what we're doing by engrossing in the sense enjoyments, which is there in the branches that we talked about, it is similar to pressing our foot on the accelerator hard and at the same time pressing the brakes. The enjoyments are nothing but the brakes. So once in full knowledge, he is able to surrender himself to the Supreme Lord. So who will be able to surrender to Supreme Person? One we understand that one should be Sarvapadhi Vinirmuktam. Otherwise, it is not. So Nirmana, free from false prestige, Sarvapadhi Vinirmuktam, Nirmana. And second is Moha. Moha means freedom from the illusion. What is illusion? Illusion is I am the body, I am not the soul. I am the body, I am not the soul is the illusion. And what is Jita Sangha Dosa? This is freedom from false associations. Is I am the father, I am the president, I am that, I am this. This is so, and then Adhyatma Nitya, understand the eternal. Then Dvandaivhir Vimukta, that is freedom from dualities. This is what the Padmapatra Vimamasa is again coming. Freedom from dualities. So the various dualities are there. Love, hate, happiness, sadness, etc., etc. Then Viniprita Kamaha. What is Viniprita Kamaha? Done with material lust and unbewildered. So too much of lust has been already done. It's over. We have already might have passed even 84 lakhs of spaces. So much of enjoyment we have already done. Now it is time to make a goodbye to this enjoyment. We have done it. We have smelled so many things. So like maybe we've been a bee and smelled so many flowers. Already smell has happened. So I think everything has happened already. Summary of section B. Okay, I wanted to cover actually up to 10. So Purushottam Yoga transmigrations. न तद्भाष्यते शशाङ्को न तद्भासते सूर्यो न शशाङ्को न पावकः यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धामं परमं मम. That abode of mine is not illuminated by the sun or moon, nor by electricity. One who reaches it never returns to this material world. Krishna is now guaranteeing this. So we have to believe you because he is saying Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo. If Krishna is saying, we have to simply believe it. And interesting part is that he's saying that in his Dhamma, in his Paramadhama, in his abode, there is no bhasyate Surya. Suryaha na tad bhasyate. So sun doesn't rise there. Sashanka also is not there. Pavakaha is not there. That means sun is not there, moon is not there, nothing is there. Electricity is not there, but it is illuminated. How? Because of his self illumination. The Dhamma is self illuminated, Goloka is self illuminated, and he himself is having so much of illumination coming out of his body. Therefore, it doesn't require any moon, any sun, any electricity, and nothing. This verse describes the spiritual world, the abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So and in the spiritual sky, there is no need of sunshine, moonshine, fire, or electricity because all the planets are self-luminous. We have only one planet in this universe, the sun, which is self-luminous, but all the planets in the spiritual sky are self-luminous. The shining effulgence of all those planets called Vaikunthas constitutes the shining sky known as the Brahma Jyotir. So the Jyoti or the shining which is coming out is called the Brahma Jyoti, where all demons and Brahmavadis, they want to merge with the Brahma Jyoti because they want to have the Brahmananda, not the Sevananda. Actually, the effulgence is emanating from the planet of Krishna, Golaka, Vrindavana. Part of that shining effulgence is covered by the Mahatattva, the material world. The major portion of the shining sky is full of spiritual planets called the Vaikuntha, chief of which is Golaka, Vrindavana. As long as a living entity is in this dark material world, he is in the conditioned life. As soon as he reaches the spiritual sky, and how he will reach the spiritual sky? By cutting the branches. And how he will cut the branch? By an X. And what is the X is about? It is the X of the detachment. And how you get the detachment? Through Bhakti Yoga. And through Bhakti Yoga, what will be done? Because ultimately through Bhakti Yoga, you will surrender. This is the process in which will ultimately able to go to the Paramadham. In the conditional life, the living entity tends to lord over the material world. On entering the spiritual kingdom, after liberation, he becomes one with the supreme, enjoying eternal bliss, eternal life, and full knowledge. So one should desire to transfer himself to that eternal world. For one too much attached to this material world, detachment becomes difficult. Only Krishna consciousness and association with Krishna consciousness devotees can help him. The last line is very important. Only Krishna consciousness and association with Krishna consciousness devotees can help him. This is otherwise what will happen is without sadhu sangha, there is always chance of fall down. Like we had the best example of, we are examples of many. Just a saffron attire is not sufficient. He must become attached to the Lord in devotion. So Paramam Mama means every nook and corner belongs to the Supreme Lord. The spiritual world is Paramam, full of six opulences. And what are the six opulences? All knowledge, then all richness, all knowledge, all richness, all fame, all not attachment, all strength, all this, six opulences are there. The entire spiritual sky is illuminated by the internal potential of the Supreme Lord, which is called Antaranga Shakti. Such a supreme abode can be attained only by surrender and by no other means. Again, this is the line. Such a supreme abode cannot be attained only other than surrendering him. So I think I wanted to cover, but we can stop here today. It is 10 or 10. We can cover the rest of the thing in the next chapter. So I think I can, yeah. Stop share. Then comes, okay. Hare Krishna. I have to stop the